Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. You know the drill, right? We take something super complex, break it down, and give you the need-to-know info. And you guys are here because you want to understand that important stuff quickly, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. Today, we're going all the way to Nepal. We're diving into the story of Kulman Ghising.
It's really quite a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a guy, he's become like a national hero for basically turning around Nepal's entire electricity sector.
Wow.
I mean, this guy's credited with completely ending their, crazy long, huge problem with load shedding.
Okay, now that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is load shedding?
So load shedding is when they have to shut off the power to certain areas just to prevent the whole system from overloading.
Oh, okay. So basically rolling blackouts.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
But like they were having it up to 18 hours a day. Can you imagine?
Wow, that is so much.
It's
like
frightening.
most of the day you don't have power. Okay, so this guy comes in, fixes it all. Sounds like a pretty happy ending, right?
Oh, there's a twist.
Oh, there's always a twist.
Yeah.
What is it?
So despite, everything he's done, all the success, Ghising might actually get kicked out of his position.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how does that happen? This is already so fascinating. We have to get into this.
Absolutely.
So for this deep dive, we're working from this really in-depth article.
Okay, great.
Our mission, if you will, is to figure out, what exactly did Ghising do? What's behind all this controversy? And what does it mean for the future of Nepal's energy, right?
Totally. I mean, we really want to understand this whole situation, like beyond just, the basic news headlines.
Exactly. So where do we even begin?
Well, I think, every good story starts at the beginning.
Okay, let's do it.
So Ghising, he was born on November 25th, 1970.
Okay.
In this tiny little village called Bethan. It's in the Ramachap district of Nepal. And it's important to note he came from like a super humble farming family.
Okay, so not exactly born with a silver spoon.
No, not at all.
Okay.
And back then in rural Nepal, electricity wasn't really a thing for most people.
Oh, right. It was a luxury.
Yeah, like a huge luxury. So that really shaped his whole perspective. Like he was determined to change that, not just for himself, but for everybody.
Right.
I mean, he lived that reality.
Exactly. And it wasn't just some childhood dream he forgot about, right?
Mm-hmm.
He actually went after it through education.
Oh, yeah.
He started at Dahu Secondary School in his village, right?
Right.
Then he moved to Kathmandu, went to Bol Siwa Secondary School,
Uh-huh.
kept going to Amara Darsha Secondary School, and then he went to Amrit Science College.
Right.
And then, major achievement here, he got himself a scholarship.
Wow.
Yeah, to study electrical engineering
Oh, wow.
at this, super prestigious school in India, the Regional Institute of Technology in Jamshedpur.
That's huge. I mean, that scholarship really changed everything for him, right?
Totally.
Gave him the knowledge, the skills to actually make a difference. It's pretty inspiring, right? Like personal drive, education in a key field, that can change the world.
Yeah, that's powerful stuff. So then, in 1994, he finishes his engineering degree and comes back to Nepal.
Right.
And this is where it all starts, right? He joins the NEA, the Nepal Electricity Authority.
The NEA, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the big state-owned, power company. They handle everything.
Exactly. Generation, transmission, distribution, the whole shebang.
The whole shebang. Right. And he starts as a 7th-level engineer.
Okay.
It's pretty impressive when you think about it, from, a village with barely any electricity to being part of the organization that runs it all.
It's quite a journey. And, it's also important to understand, what he did before taking over the NEA, right?
Right, what was that?
So he had a huge role in the Chilimi hydropower company. He was basically leading the charge, expanding their hydropower projects. So you can see he's been into renewable energy for a long time.
Oh, okay, so he's not just a management guy. He's really hands-on with this stuff.
Exactly.
And he had this leadership experience before coming to the NEA, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2016, he's appointed managing director of the NEA, the big job.
The big job, yeah.
But to really understand how big of a deal this is, we have to go back to what we were talking about before, right?
The load shedding.
Yeah, the load shedding.
Yeah.
Nepal was in a full-blown crisis. Remember, we said up to 18 hours a day without power.
Oh, it was awful. I mean, think about it. Businesses trying to run, students trying to study, families just trying to live their lives.
Right.
And it was going on for years, like over a decade. It was a huge drag on their economy, everything.
So Ghising steps in? Yeah. What happens?
So what's amazing is how quickly things change. I mean, within just 2 months, major cities had 247 power.
2 months.
Yeah.
That's incredible. How did he pull that off?
Well, he didn't waste time on, like, blame games or anything like that. He was all about finding solutions and fast.
Okay, so what did he do?
So first, he went after the corruption and inefficiency in the NEA itself.
Makes sense.
Yeah. There were all these reports about how he cleaned up their procurement processes and made things way more transparent.
Okay.
And then he completely reorganized how they distribute power.
So optimizing the existing grid, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And he didn't just focus internally. He also got more electricity imported from India, which helped a lot in the short term.
Smart. So it's like a combination of internal reforms and strategic partnerships, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And it worked. Load shedding is gone, right?
It was completely eradicated, gone. Imagine, after more than a decade of blackouts, suddenly they have reliable power.
Wow. So what you're saying is this wasn't just a Band-Aid solution. He fixed the system.
Totally.
Okay, so load shedding is gone. What else did he do?
Well, the changes kept coming. I mean, the NEA went from losing money all the time to actually making a profit.
That's a huge turnaround for, any state-owned company.
Yeah, major turnaround. And they also got rid of a lot of electricity leakage. They brought it down from like 26% to 15%.
Okay, leakage. So that's like power loss because of like old equipment or theft, right?
Exactly. So that means they're saving a ton of money and resources.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what about new projects, right?
Oh, yeah. He also oversaw the completion of some key hydropower projects like Trishuli 3A and Camellia.
I've heard of those.
Yeah, and these projects added a lot of generating capacity to their grid, which is really important for long-term energy security.
Absolutely. So he's not just fixing the old stuff, he's building for the future.
Exactly. And we can't forget the impact on rural communities.
Oh, right.
Under his leadership, they really ramped up rural electrification. I mean, places that never had electricity before were finally getting connected.
Wow. So that means more kids can study at night, hospitals can have reliable power, all that.
Exactly. It really changes everything.
And the biggest achievement, in my opinion, is this. Nepal went from importing electricity to exporting it.
I know, right?
They're actually selling power to India now.
It's incredible. It shows how much progress they made. They went from being energy dependent to actually having a surplus.
It's a huge shift, and it's all happening under Ghising's watch.
Yeah, and it didn't go unnoticed. I mean, he got all these awards like the Super Bowl Jana Soa Shri Padak from the government.
Wow.
He was named Personality of the Year by Image Channel.
Okay, so he's like a national celebrity.
Basically, yeah. He became the symbol of progress and good governance. People really saw him as someone who could get things done.
Yeah, that makes sense. But now, this whole controversy, right? The energy minister, Deepak Khadka, wants him out.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
What are they saying? Why do they want to remove him?
Well, from what we've seen in the reports, it seems like it's mostly about politics and disagreements on energy policy.
Okay, so like power struggles, different visions for the future, that kind of thing.
Seems like it.
Okay. And we want to be clear here, right? We're just reporting what's out there. We're not taking sides.
Exactly.
Okay. But his supporters are pretty upset, right?
Oh, yeah. A lot of people are worried that this could undo all the progress they've made.
That makes sense.
They're saying, what if the load shedding comes back? What if new projects get stalled?
So a lot of uncertainty and fear about the future.
Yeah, definitely.
And what about Ghising? What's he saying?
Well, he's not going down without a fight. He's sent his explanations to the government, defending his record.
So we'll have to wait and see what happens. It's a pretty tense situation.
Absolutely.
And it really raises some big questions for Nepal's energy future, right?
Oh, totally.
Like, can all these reforms he put in place actually last?
Right.
Or will political stuff get in the way?
It's a real test for them. I mean, can they keep this momentum going even if Ghising isn't there?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
And I think regardless of what happens next, one thing's for sure, right? Ghising had a huge impact on the lives of everyday people in Nepal. I mean, they literally call him the man who lit up their homes.
It's true. He brought them light after years of darkness. That's something people don't forget.
Yeah, it's powerful. And it makes you think, right?
About what?
About how much one person can actually achieve. Like, with dedication, vision, and good leadership, you can really change things.
Absolutely. And his story is a great example of that.
So let's sum this up for everyone. Okay. Kulman Ghising's story is like a textbook example of how one leader can take a nation from crisis to progress, right? He's from a small village went on to lead the National Electricity Authority, and totally transformed their energy sector.
And it wasn't just about ending load shedding, it was about building a more sustainable and efficient system.
Exactly.
And for you, our listener, I think this whole situation raises a really interesting question.
Okay, what's that?
Well, we see all this progress under Ghising's leadership, right? But what happens now? Like, what are the key things the country needs to have in place to not just make progress, but to keep that progress going, especially when leaders change, political winds shift, all that? It's a big question. It goes way beyond just Nepal, It's something to think about.
Absolutely. And that's something for all of us to ponder, right?
Yeah.
What makes change last? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See you then.